Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Usain Bolt, and of course, Reggae Month, the only month-long reggae music festival on planet Earth, where something reggae happens every day in the month of February. Reggae concerts, reggae award ceremonies, and education. February is Reggae Month. Reggae Month is February, when Jamaica invites the world Reggae Mecca and come catch the rhythm like no place else on earth, only in Jamaica.
And that's how I made it, give him the go. Breathe, I'm delighted. Jano say my passion ignited. Got the music, get me excited. I'm coming like a boss.
Reggae is global. Reggae is everywhere.
Yeah, reggae is my life, you know, because I wasn't reggae, man, I walk out here.
Thing which the world crave even right now. Reggae is internationally known.
Welcome. February is indeed Reggae Month, and in Jamaica, our celebrations are important. Not only are our celebrations important, but what we do to remind people about the importance of research is important. So I first Reggae Month Symposium organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Youth, and Sport. And we want to welcome our very able panelists this evening. I'll start Mr. Hughes, Captain Hughes, in fact, with us from the Caribbean Military Academy, School of Music, Dr. Dennis Howard from the Institute of Caribbean Studies at the University of the West Indies, Mr. Howard McIntosh, who is representing Minister Babsy Grange, who could not be here. And of course, everybody knows Howard. He doesn't need any introduction, but he's chairman of the Entertainment Advisory Board in the Ministry of Culture. Dr. Kurt Henry from the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica. He's now the new executive director. And Dr. Lanta needs no introduction, with us as an artistic director, years of work, and of Lacadco fame. So we're here this evening to discuss the impact of reggae, the global impact of reggae music, the theme, Africa, Jamaica, and beyond. We want to welcome our viewers on our multiple platforms, Jamaica Broadcasting, Public Broadcasting Corporation, and our listeners. And I want to begin by asking each of our panelists to reflect on the status of Jamaican music now. When we talk about the global impact of Jamaican music, what would you say, in your own words, based on your own work, your own vision, what anxieties may you even have about the status of Jamaican music now? I'll begin with Mr. Dowse.
Thank you, Dr. Stanley Nair. I think the music of Jamaica is doing well globally in many respects. But at home, the incubus needs repair. And it's really a result of, maybe it is because there's such a high quotient of talent in terms of pushing out so many genres as one space putting out so many traditional, indigenous, religious, and popular forms of music. It is phenomenal that they are not just forms that are active in the world. You are on record as saying that Jamaica has given the world Ator, and Dr. Howard is on the same message. But I think my anxieties are, with a new generation emerging, there will always be something that may get lost. When they find it, though, youth tend to re-energize a lot of the forms. And as we're seeing in Revival, and as we're seeing in Kumina, in even forms like Buru, which a lot of people thought was dead. There was an incident where someone, and I think we all have to become, someone went missing in Hanover, and when she was found on the beach, people watching know the story, there was a celebration that erupted spontaneously amongst the people. And there was drumming, and I was listening to the drumming, and I said, that's not Kumina, that's not Etu, that's not Gere. And I realized it was Buru, which we have been telling ourselves is dead. And it was young people who were, so what I would really want us to do is to find ways within our education to showcase not just
that is the most popular, and not necessarily Jamaican reggae music, because as you know, reggae is the biggest thing in Hawaii, reggae is big in Africa, reggae is big everywhere, and there are homegrown reggae in all the territories. And so we have to be very concerned that we are not seeing the same kind of level of popularity for our Jamaican reggae, because when you look at the international indices in terms of airplay and record sales and streaming, Jamaican music is still not doing that well. Then the next concern is the anxiety that I experience because of the kind of crisis, the identity crisis that Jamaican music is in right now. Yes, there is reggae, there is dancehall, but there are new forms of music that we cannot seem to get a grip on to give it a particular name. And people are now don't know what they are. Some people say they are dancehall artists. Some people don't want to have that genre. I just had a conversation. The music that is being produced now, and these are some of the innovators of dancehall, they're saying it is not dancehall and it needs to be, because you can't market jazz as gospel. So in a similar sense, you can't market a new type of music as dancehall. And I think one of the problems with the dilemma that we're having is that because in the 1990s, dancehall was solidified with the emergence of Irie FM, which really put it on the pedestal, and the signing of artists and the exposure and the major marketing, and also the addition of academic scholarship to dancehall. We are almost stuck with this high point of the genre, not realizing that Jamaica is a very creative space that evolves, and create new genres more than anywhere else in the world. And we have lost the ability to identify these genres and label them so that we can market them and enrich our creative industries as it should be.
So the global impact of reggae music. Howard, any thoughts?
Well, first, let me apologize for the absence of the minister and say on her behalf, how happy that we are here having this conversation. As you would appreciate, Dr. Standinaya, it is exactly part of the whole rationale behind Reggae Month. And that is to ensure that we have the conversations about the music and about the about the cultural and creative industries and entertainment. And so we're achieving that. So we've had some great conversations, and we've already started setting up a great stage. And for me, I have to be balanced, especially since I am sitting in that seat. But of course, I have my own. Receive the rewards that they should, which means putting in place all of the structures to ensure that that monetizing takes place. More reggae is being played globally now than probably ever before in our history. But this is where Dennis is spot on. It's not being played only by Jamaicans. So our task is to ensure that we develop ways that ensure that our Jamaican creators of the music get the money they deserve, and they need to be rewarded with to ensure that the music continues to grow and gives that level of contribution to GDP, which is at the end of the day part of what we want to do. Depending on the studies that you look at, just to use some numbers, it is said that the music itself contributes about 2% of our GDP, depending on what you look at. We have to come with, and I think that's part of what we all have a responsibility to do. What is the number that we're really comfortable with? What is the number of streams that we should really be getting in terms of Jamaican music? What is the number of YouTube, and so that we can have a more data-centric discussion on our music, so we know what is the target that we have of this industry. Globally, it is reported that the music industry is a $60 billion industry. What percentage of that should be Jamaican? And that's the target that we must have to ensure that the wealth, because it's something that we apologized for in the past. I think less so now. We are in the wealth creation business, and music is one of the avenues to do that. And so my anxiety is that we're not generating that level of wealth, and the wealth is going elsewhere. And even as it relates to even music being played in Jamaica, if you look at the numbers coming out of JCAP and others, the royalties and jams, the royalties are going out as opposed to going in to our own creators. So we have to get this machinery structured in such a way that the wealth comes here.
So let me ask you, Dr. Henry, based on your own work, and I'm going to take us back now, when we think about that global impact, there is a context for the development of Jamaican music in our traditional forms in the old world where our ancestors came from. I want you to reflect from your own standpoint in your own research. What impact is there from your own research in terms of the development of Jamaican music that you would want to share with us?
Thank you, Dr. Naya. It's quite interesting when you trace the history of Jamaican music and how the different various genres of music emerged. and the contexts within which those genres emerge. So for example, Comino, Mr. Captain Dawes mentioned Etu and Buru and so on, and the kind of social commentary that those genres may have within that particular time. The language within those music, for example, that enslaved, the formerly enslaved people would engage with to comment on plantation life, to comment on the hardships of society and so on. So those are quite important when you begin to talk about our contemporary music and the evolution of the various genres of music over time. And what I've been observing is that although the musical genres have developed over time, there still remains a kind of mystical consciousness within the music. Reggae, in my opinion, is the people's gospel. You know, the ability of reggae music to mobilize, the ability of reggae music to impact, the ability of reggae music to critique and serve as a kind of platform that we can really reflect on society.
Thank you so much, Dr. Henry. We take a quick break and we return in no time flat. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Reggae Month presents Salute to Dancehall. Friday, February 24, Mass Camp, National Stadium Complex. Live in concert. Sizzla. There is no time to waste. Be the man. Kate Putton. Maka Diamond. Mr. Lex. Peter Metro. And Singing Melody. With juggling by the Immortal Stone Love Sound System. Reggae Month, Salute to Dancehall. Mass Camp, National Stadium, Friday, February 24, 8 p.m. Admission free.
So we're back. Welcome back. We've thrown out our anxieties. We are concerned about monetizing. We're concerned about how it is our returns on investment in terms of the music. We're not reaping the benefits that we need to reap as a country. There are people performing reggae in various parts of the world. It is now a gift that Jamaica has given to the world, but we are not reaping those benefits. I'm hearing that as a sort of common denominator. But let me throw it to Dr. Steins, though.
Yeah.
Let me hear from you in terms of your understanding, your own research, the kind of power that we have from our traditional forms that have manifested in the context of our Jamaican music, reggae in particular. When you travel outside of Jamaica, that power you witness through your own artistic work, that power which you have used in your own choreographies. What anxieties do you have about the globalization of Jamaican music?
I'm listening to everyone. It's so interesting, you know. A while ago, I felt like I was in a movie. I was watching a movie. Because listening to everyone, it's so interesting. The story that stays with me is this friend of mine who went to Tibet. And they asked her, "Where are you from?" And she said, "Jamaica." And they were like, "Where?" And the person did this, "One love." And she said, "Oh, you come from reggae." In this man's mind, reggae was a country. Reggae was a space that named reggae. And the other one that I remember is my going to Japan to perform. And hearing this, thinking that we are the only Jamaicans that came to this event, the One Love concert. And hearing this heavy bass. And hearing So Long Rastafari playing. And saying to myself, "Oh my God, I'm not some Jamaican." And ran to the side of the stage to see all these Japanese men playing bingi. Which of course, you know, bingi influenced reggae in a lot of ways. For me, to that man, he also asked her if she spoke reggae, because reggae was a language, okay? For me, reggae, in my traveling and choreographing because of my identity is very important to me. My identity, my dance company's identity as a representation of Jamaica. When the curtain opens, you mustn't be confused where we're from. You mustn't think we're from Trinidad. You must know we're Jamaican. And you do that with reggae music. You do that with dancehall music. What worries me, my anxiety is all of what everybody said, but there must be a beginning to education. There is a policy in Trinidad that every single child must touch a steel pan. In every school in Trinidad, they have to learn the steel pan. It is not a rule, or there's no policy that you have to hit a kumina drum, or you have to play bingi, or you have to play. No, you don't have to do it. No, in Trinidad, you have to. So even if you don't end up a fantastic steel pan player, you have a relationship with it, you have an understanding of the history, and if our own people are not educated that way, then you lose a respect for the music. And you have to also respect that reggae came out of an evolution of creativity. And that's why we have new music coming out of the young people. We have to allow them that freedom. And if we have to give it the name, give it the name. Give it the name. Don't talk about giving it the name, give it the name. And so my concern is that the education about how the money must come back in, the education about how to run the business of the music, all of that, the system of education, there's no such thing. So the young new artist is lost. He didn't get any sense in school. He's totally lost. He only knows him can make music. And that's it.
So you know, I'm in a very peculiar position this evening, because usually I am a panelist and not the moderator, and so I can't speak in my capacity as a researcher in ways that I would want to this evening. But I'm hearing from you all in your capacities as educators in your own right, various, you know, comments about education and what's happening for the young people in Jamaica. But I'm going to come back to that. But let's talk about that global impact of reggae and the way in which Kingston, designated as a music city in 2015, as a creative city of music. Not many creative cities of music in the world, certainly not in 2015. We have moved now to a larger number, but Kingston being that crucible, that place from which many influences across the island converged. And, you know, if you think about the Blue Mountains as a kind of backdrop and an amphitheater with the drum sending those rhythms all across the world. Jamaica has influenced the world in very fundamental ways through its music. And I want us to think beyond Kwaito in South Africa, beyond Bangra, beyond you know, Fuji and Makossa and all of these fantastic genres of music that we hear about. When we think of the global impact of reggae, the biggest conversation now is Afrobeats. What's happening there? Is there something about the language? Is there something about those rhythmic structures? What exactly is it? Have we lost the touch in the context of the development of Jamaican music? And I know Dennis is raring to say something here. Hold on.
We haven't, because if the Africans, the Nigerians, the Ghanaians will tell you that they are very influenced by our music. In fact, Majek Fashek and all of these reggae Nigerian artists are the foundation of what is now Afrobeats. A lot of people would be surprised to know that Burna Boy considered himself a dancehall artist and called himself the Dan Gargan. He has a song called Dan Gargan. In that song, he's talking about ting-a-ling-a-ling, school bell a ring, and in a dancehall style. And when Burna Boy came to Jamaica, he said this, and it went over most people's head, because he said, I am connected to you in more ways than you know.
Yes.
You understand? But people never understood what he was saying, because they are influenced by our music. Yes, Afrobeat is not only influenced by dancehall or reggae music. It also has some hip-hop kind of context. But the point is also that all of this music is one thing, because who influenced hip-hop? Reggae music.
Yes.
Who influenced reggae music? R&B and blues. Who influenced ska? Jazz and Afro-Caribbean music from Cuba. So it is basically what I call the creative echo chamber, from Africa to the Caribbean to the diaspora in North America, back all the way back to the enslaved people migrating to England to build back England, and then all of it coming back via England to Africa, via electronic means to Africa, and everybody influencing everybody. So when dancehall artists or reggae artists say that Afrobeats, they took it from us and almost have a kind of adversary kind of attitude towards it, it don't make any sense. It is one music, and it's coming from the one place. And there's a debate about reggae coming from Africa. No, it is a part of the echo chamber.
It's not a debate. That was just something that was said.
Yeah, but sometimes
it's not a real debate.
So, but let me throw to Hugh.
But Doc, you know, a
I'm
lot
coming
of things.
back to you, Howard. Let me throw to Hugh.
Sorry.
We will come back to you, but I really want to pick up on some things that Dennis was saying. You know, Franz Fanon talks about passionate research, and Stuart Hall talks about it too, that we need to kind of know ourselves by looking at what we have done. And you mentioned some of the things like hip-hop with Cool Herc, who is Jamaican. And so on. But there are some other roots, R-O-O-T-S, R-O-U-T-S. So I found this documentary recently that the BBC did on Afrobeats. And the Ghanaians were talking about the fact that, look, their music is really high life. But because of how the world is calling everything out of Africa, Afrobeats, they are kind of saying, all right, we understand why you call us Afrobeats. But do you know, in that documentary, one of the speakers said something that they are all aware of in Ghana, that high life came from the Caribbean. It was soldiers from the West India Regiment who were posted along West Africa, who came with their band instruments, military band instruments. And right now, if you go to the Ghana Carnival, it is brass instruments and drums that sound like they're from a military background that drive the beginnings of Afrobeat. And across their literature, they acknowledge that it is from the West India Regiment that their form started. If we look at New Orleans, Dr. Myrna Hague has done extensive research on how the music that was the early jazz came out of the Caribbean into New Orleans. If we look in San Andres Island and Costa Rica and Panama and all the places where Jamaica has created diasporas outside of the three big ones that we always talk about, our music is there and has resurfaced from different directions into things that they call reggaeton and so on. But we are seeing ourselves and not recognizing ourselves because, again, we have not mapped and researched, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, but all of us who could, should, so that our youth can understand that what they are dealing with is a music that is globally pedigreed. Bad word. But yeah.
So Jamaican music is a part of a massive cross-fertilization experiment which is ongoing in music. And if you have no cross-fertilization, there is really no culture, as a matter of fact.
Exactly. True.
But Howard, you had a burning comment.
It ties in very much to what Antoinette started with on this question of education. Our miseducation continues. And many of us and many of our children, our fault, don't know the history of what we're talking about. All these forms of music that I am willing to bet that most Jamaicans don't understand it, don't know the connections. So that education, because I think most of our challenges in our little jam rocker starts with this miseducation that has truly taken place, and it has caused this identity crisis, which is part of what I term it, and this willingness to just immediately not own what we have. And then, this discussion on Afrobeats, that we lose it, that we lose it. One of the things I've been fortunate to do is travel up fairly extensively. And I can assure you, I'm going to Guatemala tomorrow, and I can tell you when I land there, I know I'm going to hear reggae music. I don't know if I'm going about nothing about the Afrobeats, and I'm going to Bonaire the following week, and I know I'm going to hear the reggae music. When you travel extensively, you know which music, and you know that the music is Jamaica.
Well, there's something that we're not doing, and we're going to take a break and come right back to pick up on this point. Stay with us, our viewers and our listeners. Right back.
Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Usain Bolt, and of course, Reggae Month, the only month-long reggae music festival on planet Earth, where something reggae happens every day in the month of February.
Back. We're touching on some very, very important points, and one watching this might say, boy, we talk about these things all the time, but where are we going with this conversation? Where are we going with these things that we know, we have recognized? Where is the leadership in how we must position our music in a global context? I want to ask you though, Dr. Steins, when you think about all the challenges there are, whether it is intellectual property, whether it is, just the free movement of Jamaican music outside, not necessarily being performed by Jamaica, money not being earned by Jamaicans. Where do you see us going in terms of new ways to facilitate the real impact of Jamaican music that then has returns coming to us?
I think the idea of us sitting here having this conversation is a beginning of new thought and of how we can plan the future. Right now, I keep going back to education, but it's not only education. I think that we need to look at our music not only from a global perspective, but how we ourselves in this country appreciate and nurture the artists who make the music.
Because it has to do with how we are then going to position this creative product in a local and global context.
We have artists, we don't seem to, for example, it's difficult for an artist to get their own music on radio. What is that? Yet they can send it to another space and it's on the radio immediately. We have to start thinking about those type of things. And we have to start thinking, you have to fix at home before you can fix abroad. You know what I'm saying? You have to fix a yard before you fix. So that and I know there are a lot of organizations who think that it is happening, but it is not fully happening. So in my opinion, let's start here and get the people who can advise as to how to move it globally in a way that the money comes back. I was shocked to hear the money is not coming back the way it must come back, I must tell you. Because I'm not a musicologist, everybody know that.
Dr.
So
Henry,
I'm learning as well.
Dr. Henry, you're now at the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, which has a reputation for doing groundbreaking research in the context of Jamaican culture. Whether it was work by Cheryl Ryman, I could call so many names. What role do you see for the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, Jamaica Memory Bank, in repositioning the kind of educational project that we're talking about in respect of Jamaican music?
the mandate of the ACIJ-JMB is really to document, research, and promote the African presence in Jamaica and the Caribbean. And I think that there's a great need for an organization such as this to position itself as the home, as an institute, as a college of some sort that really looks at the African presence in Jamaica and the region, because I think that there is a lack of appreciation when it comes on to Jamaican music and when it comes on to the knowing of certain traditional folk music, for example. The education is one thing, but the appreciation is another, because you can be educated, but you don't have the level of appreciation that is necessary. So what we're doing is we're continuing the research, we're continuing the writing and the publication, which is in fact important in continuing the work of Jamaican traditional musical forms.
May I just say something?
Yes, you wanted to.
Until today, if you say the word kumina, you get many different kinds of responses. The fact that a kumina drum, influenced a repeater that ended up with a rhythm that ended up inside in reggae music. Most people don't know this. So a lot of times I know we are researching and we are writing and it's very important. But how do we disseminate the information? How do we get the information to the children that they don't hear kumina and immediately think, oh my God, oh my God, what is that? Oh my God. It's our culture. It's like the cultures in Cuba that are accepted naturally as part of life. Mm-hmm. They accept their African culture as part of life. Yeah.
But that's what I mentioned this thing about the identity crisis.
Right, but
because it's like we're not willing to accept who we are and what it is that we want to do.
But the point you're making, the root of the point you're making, hold on now, I'm moderating here.
I love you, we love you.
The root of what you're talking about is in the traditional forms.
Yes.
And the African retention. Right. So when you think about
and the identity crisis
Brookings, Geribenta, Dinky Mini, Etu, Buru, that's who we are as a people. But for some reason in Jamaica, we shun.
Yes.
We hate to think about and to acknowledge the African parts of ourselves.
The elephant in the room is racism.
The elephant
straight
in the room.
And plain. And the colonial legacy that tells us that anything that comes from the rural poor and black people in this country don't worth nothing. And we have not given on an educational level, on a financial support level, on a structural level, there has never been sufficient support about our culture, our music. We have succeeded despite the support system in Jamaica. We have succeeded despite the resistance from outside. Bob Marley never had it easy overseas. No reggae star had it easy. We had to bulldoze, and the power of our music, the power of our personality prevailed. It was never an easy situation.
So is there any surprise? Is there any surprise that we are here discussing the global impact of Jamaican music and also acknowledging that where that global impact is concerned, we are not reaping the benefits that we should, because that enabling environment that should be created out of an abundance of appreciation for the traditional forms, the contemporary music, the development of Jamaican music is not there.
It is there because I said that's where the survival and the resistance come in. Because despite all of these obstacles, we have Jimmy Cliff. We have one of the greatest musician of all times, Bob Marley. That's an unparalleled success.
But an outlier.
Well, I wouldn't say it's an outlier because we have others. And even if he's an outlier, what an outlier? Because Bob Marley can be compared with any other musical icon in the world. And coming from a country that don't have 3 million people and achieving that when we were about less than 2 million. It's an amazing situation. So we have made strides, and a lot of people, thousands of people, have succeeded because of our culture. Dance, the traditional culture, popular culture. And we must recognize that. We can't just continue to say we are not benefiting. We have benefited.
All right,
but what we need to do is to basically you know, kind of get organized and start giving the kind of support that we will benefit to the way we want.
And I want us to focus the rest of the discussion on exactly that. What are the systems that we must have in place? What are the facets of that enabling environment for our creatives, for our musicians, that we must have in place? Where do we go, Howard?
I'm going to jump in and say, well, one of the things that we're lucky to have, and I know she don't like me say this sometimes, but we have a minister that is from the industry, in terms of the music industry, and understands it. And with the limited resources that actually exist, the people in there, and I see Joanne in the audience as the Director of Culture, and people like Gillian, with limited resources, the focus is clear. The legislation needs to be put in place to ensure that, and here we're talking about things like the Creative Economy Act, the Noise Abatement Act, which we hate to call it that way, which is really sound regulation. So the legislation needs to be put in place to ensure that the framework is there. The next thing that needs to be put in place is the infrastructure that is necessary to allow each and every person that wants to participate in the cultural and creative industries to be able to do so. Where do you go now? And I think it's happening, but we need to make it more wide scale so that everybody can do it. And it starts with what Doc said earlier in terms of ensuring that at the basic and primary school level, everybody lick a drum or play a musical instrument. So we start our dance, yes, I should not forget that. So that we ensure that that appreciation starts from when we're young, because we really, that appreciation. And then it's touching on some real things, because I remember as a youngster, my parents never allowed me to listen to reggae music, and I'm not that old, that never allowed me to listen to reggae music on a Sunday. I'd have to listen to Shirley Bassey, Tom Jones, Engelbert Humperdinck. Right? So that is what you have to listen.
Skeeter Davis.
No. and that's just a reality. So, and that's in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So I know sometimes we beat up on ourselves because of it, but we actually have come a long way in a short period of time, but we have a long way to go. So we have to put the legislation in place, put the infrastructure in place. And then now we have to get the organization, both at the industry level, because we're fragmented at the industry level in terms of a level of organization, and we're fragmented at the government level. Maybe the minister would not say it, but I can say that, you know, this whole entertainment and culture and creative industries is managed through 9 ministries. 9. And it's part of the reason we can't have data-centric discussions, because the information is all over the place. And we need that concentration within the government machinery to ensure that we do the things that are right, to put that entire foundation and framework in place for us to benefit in the way that we need to.
Hugh, right. You are a part of a newly created institution within the Jamaica Defense Force. What role is there for the music program inside of the military towards exactly what we're talking about?
Well, I thank you for that question, because our mandate is not just to train within the militaries. We train 37 militaries around the world in different skill areas, including music. And other military and paramilitary organizations. But we also have a very strong mandate for outreach. So we have been working with the Jamaica Social Investment Fund on doing outreach programs where we bring inner city youth in, and we engage them, we teach them how to play instruments, and at the end of this, they have this as something that they can use to move forward. They are now practicing musicians. We have another program that we're working with the Ministry of National Security and the Heart Trust NSTA that is about to be rolled out. Just a little ink to be put on some paper now. And that will be a longer term programs that will allow persons to get the kind of training, not only in playing instruments and reading music, but in the production side, studio work, the business of music. We train them in that, and we use the hard curriculum in our regular inter-military programs, which allows our servicemen and servicewomen not only to be able to play the instruments within the band system, but at the end, they also get certification from Heart Trust that allows them to gain employment when they leave the service as musicians. So I tell people that the JDF is the longest and largest employer of full-time musicians for the longest period of time.
And we come right back to pick up on this point about education and where we go from there. Stay with us on this Reggae Month Symposium, a conversation about the global impact of reggae music.
Reggae Month 2023 presents Salute to Dancehall. Friday, February 24, Mass Camp, National Stadium Complex. Live in concert. Sizzla.
There is no time to grace.
Be the Man. Cape Pluton. Maka Diamond. Mr. Lex. Peter Metro. And Singing Melody. With juggling by the immortal Stone Love Sound System. Reggae Month, Salute to Dancehall. Mass Camp, National Stadium, Friday, February 24, 8 p.m. Admission free.
Welcome back in this Reggae Month Symposium 2023. You know, as moderator, I'm going to use a little bit of privilege here, and as an educator, a little bit of privilege. Why don't we have proper music education in Jamaica? A country which has given the world 7 or 8 distinct genres of music in the latter half of the 20th century. No genre of music created after the 1960s has not been influenced by Jamaican music. What is Jamaica waiting on to have a substantial music program in all schools?
I would ask you, I have one question. We have a tendency to do things, I don't want to say it. We have a way of doing things that is very different. We have an institution that has everything in that institution, has music, dance, and everything. But the preparation, if you want to go and study math at UE, you have to do math in prep school, in high school, to go and do math at UE, right? But you don't have none of that for you to go to the institution, a very respectable institution, in the prep school and the high school. But you will have more music, but you don't have the dance. The proper way you should have it in order to go into a tertiary institution.
And we're talking now about the performing arts in total.
Right, in total.
Yes, the performing arts in total.
The question is not about music. The question is about performing arts.
The question is about the performing arts, because you can't really have music without dance. So when I talk about music,
it's salt.
When I talk about music in the context of music education, it is very much related to the fact that we're talking about Reggae Month. But yes, it is the performing arts that we're talking about. So what are we waiting on as a country?
It's the same thing, you know, it's the lack of acceptance. It's a colonial mindset. And I have to go back to it. It's a colonial mindset that tells us that if it is the performing arts, it is unworthy. If you tell, right now, we have students who are coming in our program, the Entertainment and Cultural Enterprise Management program at the University of the West Indies. And when they say this to their parents, them ask them what them doing. I have a student right now, as an ESM student, who her parents teases her and tell her she up at UE waste time. That is the mindset of the society That is the mindset of the public sector. That is the mindset of the private sector. That is the mindset of the educational system up to the secondary level.
Even with the degree of success that our performing artists
have
have had.
And that if we don't change that mindset, we are not going to achieve the kind of support and level of improvement. Because you know what happens? You know, because we don't support the creative arts and the performing arts at all levels, apart from JCDC, and we know they're doing a tremendous job. And of course, the teachers that do the performing arts in the high schools, they are doing a wonderful job. But because we don't have that concerted effort of starting at the level of making people lick drum and dance, a lot of the people are raw talent. No kind of structure, no organization, and so they come out and they pick up bad habits. We complain about the lyrical content, and we complain about all of this. But if they were in an organized kind of setting from high school, we don't have one performing arts high school in this country. So, all of the big stars in America, if you check it out, comedians, dancers, actors, they went to performing arts high school.
I'd like to chip in there. A lot of people think that everybody in primary school has a music teacher. No. Most schools do not have a music specialist. That's true. High schools, and I'm wearing another hat now because I used to be an administrator and worked in the Ministry of Education. High schools only choose how much they are going to go into a part of the performing arts. And a lot of high schools have no music teacher. What you will see at All Together Sing or festival is a physics teacher who train our church choir, and the principal said, can you pull together a group for graduation and for All Together Sing? So we don't have a systematic program. There's one education officer for music for the entire country. And he tries his best. But if a school does not decide to do that, it's not going to happen. So what needs to happen, I would propose, is that the industry, the music industry, and corporate Jamaica, at least those who are convinced that this is our gold that we need to keep mining, put their money where their mouth is, and whether engage particular schools. I went to St. Catherine High School, and that school, 75 years old this year, has had its own, when you look at the output of musicians from that school, O'Neill Mundell, Spice, Jermaine Edwards, Chronix, Mr. G, The Angel, and you can go on and on and on. It's not by chance. The school had that as a part of its culture, and from within the school, there's that incubator. The music education officer, the one, is from that school. If each school could focus on our gold, it's the same for track and field, you know. These things only happen incidentally, and look at what we have done in the world.
I'm over here nodding off my head because your points have been solid, Captain Dowse. And I want us to just focus a little bit on the fact that we have exposed the underbelly of two very important things. One is the global impact of Jamaican music and how that has positioned Jamaica as a brand, Jamaica as a passport, Jamaica as an entry point for anybody who understands music at all. All right? And on the other hand, there is this lack of an enabling environment. Absolutely. That we have been struggling with, even though Howard says we are in fact a young democracy. Emancipation was just the other day, and our researchers like Erna Broadbent remind us that the project of emancipation is yet incomplete. So yes, we don't have to beat up on ourselves because we haven't achieved in the way that other, so-called first world countries have. When you think about music and its positioning in the world, there are 3 major countries where popular music is concerned. And Jamaica, the country with less than 3 million people, is right up there beside Britain and the United States. So there are 2 very different things that we are talking about, but absolutely related. But we must fix one in order to impact the other one, to continue to have that global impact.
I'm going to comment, because I know I know everybody here would want to comment on it. And unfortunately, one of the things that we don't do enough of is capture the data. Because that's what I know Captain said earlier, that, you know, making appeals, and I know the comments coming from Dennis in terms of the reluctance on the part of many persons to accept our culture and our creative industries and our music. But we're going to have to now force the powers that be to ensure that the data is captured. A couple of years ago, we weren't capturing tourism numbers well enough. We weren't. And 40 years ago, until the Hotel Incentives Act was created, that's when our tourism industry really started. So that's why we have to talk about legislation and we have to talk about data. Because until the data shows the value of brand Jamaica and the fact that our cultural and creative industries and our entertainment, including our music and sports, is at the cornerstone of brand Jamaica. And it is contributing to GDP and contributing to employment, and people understand that. And people would then embrace this vision. I mean, part of what we do within the ministry in terms of discussions and within the Entertainment Advisory Board, you have a vision for 2030. That vision for 2030 speaks to the ECCI, the Entertainment, Cultural and Creative Industries, being the #1 foreign exchange earner by 2030, and also being the #1 employer. But what that is going to mean is that that entire enabling environment has to be put in place. And I continue to use that example of tourism to say that when that is put in place, then a lot of the capital, a lot of what needs to happen in terms of the schools will happen. And you see it happening now in tourism. All we are asking for, and I say this everywhere I go, all that we are asking for, and I'm doing this appeal, is that we try with sugar, we try with bauxite, we try with aluminum, different things were put in place. Just give the
cultural and creative
industries a chance.
Yes.
And give many of the talented youths, a lot of whom come from rural and inner city areas, just give them a chance.
And that might mean just 2% of the tourism tax.
Well, you getting me in a seat here, but money is going to be needed.
Absolutely.
Because you see, we just approved the $1 trillion budget for the first time. $1 trillion. $5 billion of that goes to the Ministry of Culture, right? Which means 0.05%. If it is that the cultural and creative industries is capturing in anywhere between 5 to 10%, then we have to look at it. We know there are some other imperatives that the country has to deal with, including debt and including the wage bill for the government. So that is crowding out a lot of what we need to do in terms of investment. But the truth of the matter is we're going to need to, having established a vision, determine what are the things that are critical to make this happen. Start the high school program. Ensure that some more resources are put towards a performing arts center and to the institutions that are doing a number of these things, and we have to do it.
So at this point,
that was my appeal.
I'm going to pause to find out if there's anyone in our audience. We do have an audience with us in our live audience who would have a question, a comment. You please take the microphone if you do have anything to say. I'm inviting you to make a comment if you do have one or to ask a question.
But Dr. Naya, in the meantime...
In the meantime,
I'm going to throw to Lantoinette.
Yeah, Lantoinette.
I'm hoping I can impart this properly. Every time we think of performing arts, the first thing that comes up is music. We are having what you call a dance drain. We are losing dancers to Lion King. We are losing dancers to universities all over the world because dance is always considered last. The problem is that you cannot do anything. If the music is played and people don't move to it, your music's out. And the problem is, the talent for music is the same amount in the talent for dance. But until now, if you think of major companies like Alvin Ailey in New York and Philadelphia and major companies in the world, there has to be a funding source that salary these people so they can become full-time dancers, so they can tour and represent the country and hold the flag high. But that is not thought about.
Okay, you're talking about mechanisms to support creatives, to support artists.
Thank you.
We are not a mature country in that respect at all.
And I'd like to segue and say that we cannot be a capitalist, worse, a neoliberal capitalist country. That's the policy that we have endorsed. And while I am not excusing government, because government have to do as our just appeal, and we talked about some of the things that only government can do, we cannot believe that it is only the government to support our industry, because this is a capitalist situation and investors are there to invest. And I think sometimes we tout capitalism, but we don't want to take any chance. And because the creative industries cannot guarantee on a steady basis a return on investment, our investors in this Caribbean don't sufficiently support and invest in our industry. So we don't have an organized music industry. It is fragmented.
But yet, on the other hand, they sidle up with our creators when they are ready to promote a drink.
And so we
promote a product.
Thank you. We need to. So while you're piggybacking on the fame, I think it is incumbent on and wise for our industry titans to realize that they should be investing in the creative industries, and not as a charity and not as grant money with a return on investment, but it's a kind of different kind of structure. And they need to understand that, because it cannot be a public funding initiative. It has to be private-public.
Public-private partnership. We go to the break. I think this is our final break.
Everywhere else.
And we are going to be right back with you. Stay with us. It's not our final break. We'll be right back in any case. Think about your questions, General.
Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Usain Bolt, and of course, Reggae Month, the only month-long reggae music festival on planet Earth, where something reggae happens every day in the month of February.
Reggae Month 2023 presents Salute to Dancehall. Friday, February 24, Mass Camp, National Stadium Complex. Live in concert. Sizzla. There is no time to waste. Be the Man. Cape Pluton. Maka Diamond. Mr. Lex. Peter Metro. And Singing Melody. With juggling by the Immortal Stone Love Sound System. Reggae Month, Salute to Dancehall. Mass Camp, National Stadium, Friday, February 24, 8 p.m. Admission free.
And we are back. Thank you very much for staying with us. I want to throw to our audience, because we do have a comment from Karen Harriott.
Hi, everybody. I'm quite happy that I made the time to come here this evening. I'm enjoying the conversation. I'm enjoying the discussion. Dr. Anaya spoke about an enabling environment, and Dr. Stein spoke about fix your yard before you go abroad. Howard spoke about monetization, and Dennis spoke about the legacies of colonialism. And you know, the points that you have brought across are just so powerful. As a performer, an actress, an educator, an adjudicator, someone who a lot of young people come and talk to me and say, Auntie Karen, when we finish the performing arts in high school, what do we do? Where do we go? We're not producing the spaces for these people or young people to get ahead. I'm in the country, I'm at a hotel, and this has happened to me more than once over the past year or two. I'm at a hotel on a Saturday night, and the entertainment that I get as a Jamaican, the entertainment I get is some young people imitating Michael Jackson in a Jamaica, and I'm sitting down there and I'm watching and I'm saying, what the hell is happening?
All right. So
what is happening? Legislation, what is happening?
So, and this is a comment that is resonating with our viewers right now, I can tell you, because we have had complaints, we have had a bit of organizing, various associations have developed because of the kind of pushback we need in response to the various entertainment products brought in the context of tourism. But let us now get back to the global impact of Jamaican music. I wanna throw our attention back outside, because there are some things that we have done right. There are some things that we have done right in the positioning of Jamaican music, so much so that it has had this kind of global impact. What are some of those things that we have done right, which we need to continue? And I want to, with throwing that question out, ask anybody to respond.
I think one of the things that has been done right by the people who have carried the music is that the music went with them as a part of their way of life. It's very important that the consciousness that kept people together, that the music carried, whether it went to Britain with the Windrush generation and afterwards with the sound system movement, the way in which lovers rock took root there as one of the genres that flourished maybe more there than here. The way in which when you go to San Andres and you hear Mento in San Andres, it's like a snapshot of Mento from the 1950s and 40s and before. When you hear what our music has done in those spaces, how ska has taken off in places like Canada and France and part of the United States, that young people are into ska, that even now a lot of our young people are saying that old music there. There are ways in which when it went out, it retained its potency, it defined an identity, it became a house for people who were away from home to dwell in and feel safe. And the other thing that I am very proud of about our music, that I've had to engage more and more because of some workshops I've been doing with people outside of Jamaica, is that we have never ever really treated the music as if it was for us alone. It's huge that our music has gone into the world and we have offered it and we have invited people in. I know people quarreled about the Grammy last year. There's another discussion about standards and what we are able to do and so on. But generally, we have never taken the music and said, oh, you from your culture should not do our music. It is maybe an obvious no-brainer for us, but there are other spaces where music of black majority people are treated as something that nobody else should do. I'm very proud of that and the way in which that music has offered the world a consciousness, a healing, and a sense of identity as humanity. It tells us more about ourselves when it's out in the world, maybe, than when it is practiced here.
What we have done right is to continue or consistently create great music. And also, while creating that great music, is to remain authentic to who we are. because most of the songs that have made an impact, especially in reggae, is the authentic sound. At one point in England, we were sugaring up our music and adding strings and doing all kind of things to reach the European or the British mainstream pop. All of that failed for the most part. And it is the authentic music. Even when there was a compromise in the sound of the first two albums for the Wailers, Bob Marley went straight back to the hardcore bass culture sound of reggae music and spoke in patois, communicated in patois intentionally, and that is what has allowed us to reach to these heights, because people saw the realness and authenticity in the music and in our personality. So we have done that right.
What we have not compromised on is the soul of Jamaicans that we have transmitted through our creative products. What are some of the things that we've got right, Howard, that we must remember to retain?
Well, the first thing we've done right is created a country with some of the greatest people in the world. You see this brand Jamaica that we all continue to sustain. It has allowed us, not just in music. If you think about what we have done and given the world, a religion, greatest food, some of the best athletes, the greatest music, this brand Jamaica that we continue to push, because we do it every day, you know. We do it every day. And part of what we must understand, and people go and criticize me because they say, all this talk about money and all them things. But the truth of the matter is we need to understand the value of the brand Jamaica, because we have been doing it right, but we've been doing it without really measuring it and understand exactly what it is. But this brand Jamaica, which has produced this music that has infected, am I allowed to use that? The world in such a way, in a revolutionary way, in a romantic way, in all these types of ways that our music and dance, but that's why I keep talking about brand Jamaica is the thing that we have really done so well. But what we need to now understand is how we bottle it, how we measure it, and how we ensure that we perpetuate this brand with all of the strands that come with it, which would include music, sports, dance, and all of these. And that is part of what we have to do and ensure we do it quickly.
One of the things that I think we have consistently been doing right is to produce sound lyrics. Lyrics that can contribute, as Captain Doe said, healing. I remember last year I was in Dubai as part of the Jamaica delegation at the Dubai 2020 Expo. And a young man from Kenya was expressing his love for reggae music, and he brought on into tears. You know, sharing with me his love for our music and how reggae music was able to heal what he described as a broken family. So I think that that's one of the things that we have been consistently doing right, and we should, in fact, do the necessary things to ensure that we continue to produce sound music and sound lyrics.
Quality music.
I think that we must give thanks to our ancestors, because this music that we are speaking about and the dance, they are the ones who made sure that we remembered. And when I read you wrote something that made me listen again to Toots and the Maytals music. And what we have done with the music is also carry the ancestors through the music. Because when you listen to Toots music, 54, 46, you're hearing Gere, you're hearing all kind of traditional, ancient folk forms in it. And so the music is, without people knowing, when they say subliminally, in some way educating you about yourself. And our brand. And our brand. And so I think that is the strength of our music. And that is why we must, if we're talking about selling Jamaica, the brand Jamaica, when the tourists come to Jamaica, they must see brand Jamaica. They must not come to Jamaica to see brand anything else. They must feel it, smell it, taste it, move to it, because we are beautiful and our brand is fantastic. Our music is a healing music, as you said, and it's coming from ancestral knowledge through the drum. That is now on the trap drum or whatever, it's in the bass. You know, it's in all of that. So I think that's the beauty of our music. And we need to preserve that.
And on that note, we take our break. We'll be right back. Stay with us for this Reggae Month Symposium. Our focus is the global impact of reggae music. Stay with us.
Reggae Month 2023 presents Salute to Dancehall. Friday, February 24, Mass Camp, National Stadium Complex. Live in concert. Sizzla.
There is no time to waste.
Be the man. Cape Pluton. Maka Diamond. Mr. Lex. Peter Metro. And Singing Melody. With juggling by the immortal Stone Love Sound System. Reggae Month, Salute to Dancehall. Mass Camp, National Stadium, Friday, February 24, 8 p.m. Admission free.
What's that was for the friends that take off the below? One time did sit down in a class and report that only set the road and we go on with the road.
Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Usain Bolt, and of course, Reggae Month, the only month-long reggae music festival on planet Earth, where something reggae happens every day in the month of February.
And we are back. If you've been unlucky to have missed so far the segments previously in this Reggae Month Symposium focused on the global impact of reggae music, you certainly are going to be lucky enough to be with us in this last segment. We have started with the discussion of the fact that Kingston was declared a Creative City of Music in 2015. So much has happened since then. We have had a pandemic that shut our entertainment industry down, but the global impact of reggae music, and we use reggae often as a catch-all word for the totality of Jamaican music. The global impact of Jamaican music is still very much palpable. It is there for us to see in so many of the examples we have heard in this program and those that we encounter in our own daily lives, those of us who travel, who leave Jamaica know. We've also had discussions about the fact that when you think about Kingston, it is not the only space to be acknowledged in terms of the development and the globalization of Jamaican music. There was Rockfort, Warwicker Hills. There are all of these spaces that become important, even beyond Trench Town. And when you think of the traditional forms, the Mento, the Garibenta, the Brookings, the Dinky Mini, the Etu, Hanover, Portland, all of those parishes become important in that conversation as well. The religious traditions such as Revival and Kumina are also important in terms of the development of Jamaican music. And we cannot forget the sounds of Toots and the Maytals, the Jimmy Cliffs, who, when you hear their voices, you know they were schooled in the church, they were singing in church, they were singing in revival churches and so on. That cross-fertilization that we spoke about, though, is also within spaces such as Cuba, New Orleans. These have all been mentioned in this conversation. So if you've been unlucky to miss the first or so, the few segments we have had, I'm giving you quite a bit of a summary here. But I want in this last segment to ask our panelists to reflect again on the way forward. We talked about what we have done right. We've talked about some of the ways in which we have been lacking as a country, even a young democracy as we are, competing with so-called first world countries. Where do we go as little Jamaica, little but Talawa, Jamaica, with our global impact in reggae music, with our enabling environment, with our public-private partnerships? Where do we go now as our way forward? And in the context of this way forward, your closing remarks as well. And I'll begin with Dr. Steins.
I was hoping you wouldn't begin with Dr. Steins. And you know, I just have to be myself in every situation. But I would have to go back to what I originally said. Where we do go now. One of our problems in Jamaica is we love to chat. We talk about things. I've been to so many meetings where we talk, and then we write a paper, and then we bound it, and then it goes somewhere. That is the issue. This conversation was very healing for me. It was very eye-opening. And what we need to do is everything that was discussed in this conversation that could possibly be a solution for something, we need now to look back at this and start to structure the pathway. We can't just have the conversation and go home.
Dr. Henry.
Indeed, Dr. Steins.
You are new on the block in so many ways. The director of the ACIJ Jamaica Memory Bank.
Youth and energy.
Prime Minister's Youth Award awardee. You are the future in so many ways. Way forward.
We spoke earlier about an enabling environment. We need to think seriously about that enabling environment, and it begins from the home. You know, I've heard stories where children go to their parents, Mama, I want to be a dancer. No, could do something that's more professional, you know? And I think at the tertiary level, we need to rethink some of the programs that we offer. Yes. Do we offer courses or a degree in dance therapy? Do we offer a degree in music therapy? You see, give drama therapy, right? Give our students more options instead of, you know, forcing them to go overseas. We need to properly fund organizations such as the Institute of Jamaica, the ACIJJMB. You know, we are doing quality work, but we are in need of funding.
Your comment has reminded me that 10 years ago we were not talking about social media managers or content creators. And that in so many ways Jamaica has the potential to be the innovator in the way that we did with sound. We don't talk about the sound system as Jamaica's national instrument in the way that Trinidad is very clear about what their national instrument is, the steel pan. And big up to all those who are carnivaling at the moment. The fact is that we must consider the things that we have created, but the innovation, that's what we have never lost. Howard, way forward.
You know, you mentioned something which made me think about, you know, in Trinidad, the most popular music is Jamaican music. Come December 26th, Boxing Day,
Ash Wednesday.
to tomorrow,
To Ash Wednesday, yes.
you are basically only allowed to play Trinidadian music. And then come Thursday,
Pure Sizzler.
pure dancer.
Jamaican music again.
And I always say to my friends, I mean, if you haven't experienced Carnival, it's one of the occasions where you see a country embracing an event and the music of that country. And we are going to have to get to that point. You know, you go back to when we all started with this Reggae Month. And I want to congratulate the organizers of this symposium and many of the symposia that have taken place during the month, because it is exactly that, to encourage the conversations, but also to encourage the actions. The ministry and the Entertainment Advisory Board has started on some of those actions. The legislation that I refer to is fundamental to help establishing that framework. We have to focus on the infrastructure in terms of ensuring that you do have a performing arts center. You do have venues that allows all our artisans to perform when they're ready. So there has to be that focus, and we have to focus on the data, ensuring that as many people, and I know many of you on this panel and in the audience are researchers and people in academia, we need you. We need you to ensure that people understand that the data needs to be collected so that when we sit down with the government, the private sector, we're able to say to them, this is what our entertainment, cultural, and creative industries is doing. And until we get to that point, we're still going to get a wishy-washy response. And because of many other reasons we discussed. So we have to focus on those areas now to help create that enabling environment to launch us into another sphere that allows us to take advantage of the tremendous opportunities. As you said in closing remarks, we're in the roaring 20s, you know. Remember when we used to hear about what happened in the roaring 20s of 100 years ago? We're in that period right now. There are tremendous opportunities that are abound. We have to get some of these things fixed as quickly as possible, and that will allow us to take advantage of all these opportunities. And
indeed, we don't have a messiah that's coming from outside, outer space to come and fix these things.
And sorry, the last thing, the industry, we have to understand their role in it. A lot of times we're willing to point fingers. You have to join the organizations, help strengthen the organizations and strengthen
the professional associations.
And the professional associations.
That's an important part of the enabling environment.
And ensure that that lobby group, if we want to call it that, is powerful, because they are powerful.
Let me hear your closing remarks and your way forward.
First and foremost, the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley, the Honorable Louise Bevan Clovelly should be national heroes immediately.
As important representatives of the cultural and creative industries in this country.
Absolutely. And in doing that, we are accepting who we are as a people. And I'm not talking about as a people with only our African heritage, but we are talking about our Indian, our Jewish, and our Chinese heritage. That's the collective that is Jamaica. And we must understand, well, since we are going to accept who we are, we have to lay the foundation. And that means invest, invest, invest in our human resources, in our high schools, and in our industries to benefit, get the returns.
Thank you very much, Dr. Howard. Brief closing comments.
This discussion, great discussion, thank you for having me as a part of it, is really about national identity. Lived at home and abroad. And if we can do what we can to see what music has done to hold our truth about ourselves, what it can do to rescue people from the ills in society, as we have been trying to do through the Military Academy School of Music, through outreach and through getting at-risk youth. And if we can also see it as a real means of making money as big business, if we can interest real investors, it's really investment that has the kind of money that is going to make this happen. Governments don't have that type of money. Government creates the enabling environment, but all of us as organizations, as militaries, as schools and so on must do all that we can to funnel into creating that industry, and investors must put their money.
So we're talking about public-private partnerships. I am only left to thank you all very, very much for an absolutely stimulating conversation. I have been your host, Dr. Sonia Stanley Nair from University of the West Indies. I want to thank the Ministry of Culture for once again making sure that we gather inside of Reggae Month to celebrate our music, to celebrate our achievements. And we will have part 2 next week, same time. Join us again right here for the global impact of reggae music. Thank you all.
What's that was for the friends that take off every load one time, did sit down in a class and report that only said
Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Usain Bolt, and of course, Reggae Month, the only month-long reggae music festival on planet Earth, where something reggae happens every day in the month of February, ranging from mega reggae concerts, reggae award ceremonies, and educational symposia on reggae.
Yeah, blessings fall by my right hand.
February is Reggae Month. Reggae Month is February, when Jamaica invites the world to come to Mecca, Reggae Mecca, and come catch the rhythm like no place else on earth, only in Jamaica.
And that's how I made to give him the glory. I'm delighted. Jano say my passion ignited. Got the music get me excited. I'm coming like a boss.
Reggae is global. Reggae is everywhere.
Yeah, reggae is my life, you know, because I for reggae ministry, I walk out saying did or something.
We have something which the world crave even right now. Reggae is internationally known.
Reggae fans all over the world, welcome to part 2 of Java Vintage Concert, coming to you courtesy of Jamaica Association of Vintage Artists and Affiliates, Java. This is a Reggae Month event presented in association with the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports and the Ministry of Tourism. Tonight we take you once again down memory lane with memories by the score. Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen all over the place, diaspora locally, welcome to part 2 of this great Java music experience for Reggae Month. Featuring now the voice of Andrew Casanova alongside Bob 5.
Oh no, oh no. Everybody out there, let me see you wave those hands, come on. Every time I think of saying goodbye, everything inside me says it's a lie. So I can't, no I can't, no I can't, yes. 'Cause you've been with me right through the rough, and you never said I had enough. So I can't, no I can't, no I can't, yes. I like to repay you the damage is done. I know I won't be able to repair it all, 'cause I lost count, and for all the times you've been hurting, you're still so fine, and it's blowing my mind. I know I should back and walk away and leave you nothing to remind. So I can't, no I can't, no I can't, yes. Now this one is for all the beautiful ladies out there. If you love sweet reggae music, sing along to this one. The ladies find sunshine most of the time, and the feeling is laid back. All trees grow right so low, don't you know? I'll keep working my way back. I'm a Jamaican boy who's born and raised. Nowadays I'm lost between two shores. LA's family ain't home. New York's home and it ain't mine no more. I am myself to go one day, and no one heard it all night, even the jail. I am my pride. I am said and I am lost and I can't even say why. Leaving me lonely. Now this is dedicated to the memory of Mr. Johnny Johnson of the techniques. Rest in peace, my brother. For so long I've been a traveling man. Oh, it's been a long, long time. I was just rolling around all over this land. With just one goal in mind. So I'll keep searching to find my love, hoping she will come along one of these days. Yeah, yeah. To this traveling man, a man, a man, traveling man. I am tired of being a traveling man. I wanna stop rolling around. I was so happy when I found my true love. Lost that I've been around. So I keep searching to find my love, hoping she will come along one of these days. Believe me, to this traveling man, a man, a man, traveling man, traveling man. I wanna stop from rolling around. So I keep searching to find my love, hoping she will come along one of these days. Believe me, to this traveling man, a man, a man. Take it to the end, brothers. Traveling man, oh, won't someone clean my car? Traveling man, baby, I don't wanna end up alone. Traveling man, believe me, oh yeah, 'cause I'm a man, a traveling, 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 traveling. Now this one is for all the empresses worldwide, all the ladies. Yeah, yeah. I've never been someone shy until I see your eyes. Still I had to try. Yeah. Oh yes, let me get my words right to then approach you. I'm gonna treat you like a man is supposed to. You never have to cry. No, I know everyone can relate to when they find a special someone. She's royal, yeah, so royal. I want her in my life. I never knew anything was so one of a kind. No, when she moved to her own beat, she has the quality of a queen. She's a queen. Oh, oh, what a natural beauty. No need no makeup to be a cutie, 'cause she's a queen. So supreme, yeah. And when they ask what a good woman's made of, she's not. Everybody in virtual world, help me say. She's royal, yeah, so royal. And I want her in my life. Never ending one, so divine until the night that I see you rise. Ooh, yeah, you're my queen, so sweet, yeah. And I can see it in your eyes. Ooh, the way you smile, yeah. One more thing. Well, I know the king and queen crown same time, so I'll never leave his side. Stick with me through the trial time, yeah. And she says she no mind, her right to no good man is all to find. And she cannot abandon trying to lie, that's why she has no ties at this time, yeah. I know many men are trying, but she needs to be more than a sin. She's royal, yeah, so royal. And I want her in my life. Never ending one, so one of a kind, until the night that I see you right. Ooh, and queen, yeah, you're my queen, so sweet, baby. Well, I can see it in your eyes. Ooh, the way you smile, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of the show. It's Reggae Month, Java Music Festival.
Well, I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your eyes. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Granny, me old time granny, 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 me old time granny, granny, granny. My grandmother used to tell me, say, grandson, we're out there. My grandmother used to tell me, say, grandson, we're out there. She said, no, hang your hat where you can't reach. No, put all your eggs in a one basket. Look, me say, before you leave what you sow, you shall surely reap. No run, me say, follow bad company, Marco. Me no got no money. Granny, me old time granny, 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 me old time granny, granny, granny. Me grandmother used to tell me, say, grandson, we're out there. Me grandmother used to tell me, say, grandson, we're out there. She say, no, hang your hat to where you can't reach. No, put all your eggs in a one basket. Look, me say, before you leave what you sow, you shall surely reap. See, don't make me tell you about the little country. Then she start to tell the history. She tell me about Paul Bogle. She tell me about William Gordon. She tell me about Norman Manley. She tell me about Buster Mante. She tell me about Marcus Garvey. Don't you forget Okompong Nani. Granny, me old time granny. Granny, 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 me old time granny. Granny, granny. St. William Grantham was a good man. Don't forget Kojo the Maroon. Hey, how you feeling? She tell me about 1938. That was the time that I was suffering. So look, me say, before you leave what you sow, you shall surely reap. Look, Me say, before you leave, what you sow, you shall surely reap. No run, me say. No run, me say. No run, me say, follow bad company, Marco. Me no got no money. Granny, me old time granny. Granny, granny, granny. Me old time granny. Granny, granny, granny. Me old time granny. Granny, granny, granny. Me old time granny. Granny, granny. If you don't have a problem, just put up your hand, you're good. But from you have a problem, this one is for you. Problems, problems. Problems, problems. Problems, problems. Listen. When you think you are right and everyone is wrong and you don't even listen to no one, you have a problem. A serious problem. You have a problem. A serious problem. Your friends are always new, cause no one get along with you. Simple trip on the bus, it end up in a cuss. Even malice your neighbors claim they are jealous of you. It's time you check yourself. No one else can help. You have a problem. A serious problem. You have a problem. A serious problem. It's time you check yourself. No one else can help. It's all in your hands. Try to understand. If you think you are right and everyone is wrong, and you don't even listen to no one, you have a problem. A serious problem. You have a problem. A serious problem. Problems, problems, yeah. Problems, problems, yeah. Problems, problems, yeah. Problems, problems, yeah. So when you think you are right and everyone is wrong, and you don't even listen to no one, you have a problem. A serious problem. You have a problem. Are you had a problem? You got a problem. Problems, problems, yeah. You have got a problem, yeah. Problems, problems, yeah. You got a problem. You got a problem. You got a problem. A serious problem. You have a problem. A serious problem. You've got a problem. Yeah, problems.
Reggae Month. Thank you very much, Minister, for putting all of these artists together. For we are not only friends, but we are idols. And this is the greatest show, especially if you are my age. I hear the voice of the Iron Man say, Babylon, your throne gone down, gone down. Babylon, your throne gone down. I hear the voice of the Iron Man Babylon, your throne gone down, gone down. Babylon, your throne gone down. By the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wept, and we remember Zion. For the wicked carry us away captivity, requires from us a song. How can we sing King Alpha song in a strange land? These songs back in the days in Studio One. Lord, better get ready, come to rock steady. Yeah. You've got to do this new dance now that you're ready. Just like Uncle Freddy, if you don't know. Shake your head, rock your body like, shake your shoulders, everything is fine and see. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. You've got to let me go. I'm too rock steady. Yeah. You've got to do this new dance now that you're ready. You've got to do it just like Uncle Freddy now that you know. Shake your head, rock your body like, shake your shoulders, everything is fine and sing. Can I hear it? I'm going to show you how we used to build the music back in Channel 1, Studio 1, Randy's, Federal Studio. Bob Marley never leave percussion out them songs, and that's why Bob sang them last so long. So you're at your home, every piece of instrument I take out of the bag, I want you to say, go on. You see all of those instruments played on a lot of the big hit songs from the 60s and 70s. And if my friend Sugar Minot was here tonight, one of the Rocksteady master, you hear what Sugar Minot said I say? Yeah man, reggae music, the heartbeat of a people. I'm so rough. Yeah, time so tough. Yeah, time so rough. Coming from the country with my bag of Cali, fuck up on a DC. It won't hold me. Don't you run now, you man. You won't get away. You slip you will slide. And if you run, you can die. Cause I've got right in my hip. Can I hear it? Oh, DC. Don't touch my eyes. Oh, DC. Please don't touch my calling. Oh, DC. Children dying for hunger and high man a suffer. So you get to see this Cali that feed me. 50 cents a stick, $1 a quarter. That's what keep me alive. Me and my 2 kids and wife. Give me a chance, let me go on a little faster. Just let me pass through, and God will bless you. Can I hear it?
This one is called the comb. The comb is one of the wickedest inventions made and given to black man. Comb don't worry Indians, nor Chinese, Syrians, nor Ottoman Turks, nor Jews, nor white people. But it's murder to the black man head. Why you think black man trim so often or scrape him head completely? It's because of the comb. Why you think the black man trim and wear wig? It's because of the comb. When I was small, comb used to make me bald. My mother used to slap me and say, "You're too damn nasty." And I'll predict to me I go turn Rasta like Rasta turn backfish or turn camel. Most youth, when them hear about the comb, them cry. The barbers will always lick their fingers, trimming, scraping, balding, and ducking heads and making billions of dollars. I, for one, have dreaded barbers from way back in my youthful days. It all started with my father, who was very strict when it came to the comb. You comb your head from morning, boy. No, that but I make it now. Come make a comb it for you too blasted, nasty boy. And so the wickedness started. My father used to comb my head with strong passion. The more I cried, the harder he combed, because crying signified nastiness. Cleanliness is godliness, boy. God don't like uncombed hair. So he buy me a fine teeth comb. The first time I use it, I dash it away. When my father asked me for it and I told him it lost, him say, "You too damn lie." It's dash it away. And him say, "It's all right. You know, like comb your head. All me have to do is trim you regular." So every 3 weeks, barber for me. My hair couldn't even get no time to grow.
How good and how pleasant it is for I and I dwell together in love and unity. More blessings. Respect.
Yeah.
Was seen running round with him again. Oh yeah. But I knew when you said you were through with him, you still care. Oh, just as I thought you were mine, he gave you that life. Guess while you running round, you're gonna be left with a broken arm. Still, I guess this is where you wanna stay. Oh yeah. But I'd much rather have it with me. Oh yeah. Oh, I need that you let me know before I let myself go. Yes, while you running round, I'm gonna be left with a broken heart. Left with a broken. Left, I knew that he was taking you away. Well, he was looking at you that day. Oh, I guess I have to find another love. Oh, yeah. There is nothing I can say when you're my love. No, 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 darling, darling, darling. But someday you're gonna come back to me. But if someone else is all I'm gonna be, guess what I'm running round, you're gonna be left with a broken arm. Left with a broken. Left with a broken. Left with a broken heart. Yeah. Don't do so sad the party. Forget your sorrows until tomorrow. Don't be upset in the party, baby. Whenever you're ready, hold my hands when you're ready. Let me rock, rock with me, baby. Rock, 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 rock with me, baby. Rock, rock, rock with me, baby. Rock with me, girl. Rock with me, girl. Rock with me, yeah. That is sweet, my love, my love, my love. Don't look so sad in the party. Forget your sorrows until tomorrow. Don't be upset in the party, baby. Whenever you're ready, hold my hands when you're ready. Let me rock, rock with me, baby. Rock, 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 rock with me, baby. Rock, rock, rock with me, baby. Rock with me, girl. Rock with me, girl. Rock with me, yeah. Dance with me, girl. Dance with me, yeah. Yeah. Baby, whenever baby. Rock, rock, rock with me, baby. Rock, rock, rock with me, baby. Rock with me, girl. Rock with me, girl. Rock with me, yeah. Dance with me, girl. Dance with me, yeah. None shall escape. None shall escape the judgment in this time. These words I say to all mankind. None shall escape the judgment in this time. That is what I say to all mankind. Arise, black man, Jehovah will come forward into Babylon. Declare we can rise justly among the heathen. Get the weak as mouth fall, only the righteous shall stand in this congregation of the holy. Anything you say, I will always do. Anything you say, I will always do, because I love you. Because I love him. I love him, I'll serve him all the days of my life. In the house of Allah, God Rastafari. I love him, I'll serve him all the days of my life. In the house of Allah, God Rastafari. As I approach the gates of Zion, I can hear the choir singing. As I approach the gates of Zion, I can hear the choir singing. I love him, I'll serve him all the days of my life. In the house of the Lord, God Rastafari. I love him, I'll serve him all the days of my life. In the house of the Lord, God Rastafari. None shall escape the judgment in this time. These words I say to all mankind. None shall escape the judgment in this time. These words I say to all mankind. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, no, no. No, no, no. No. Move out of Babylon, Rastaman. Moritz, it's true. Move out of Babylon, Rastaman, and leave out the wicked man. Move out of Babylon, Rastaman, leave out the wicked man. No wicked shall not prosper. Only righteous men shall stand up. Keep on moving. Keep on moving. The Rastaman a move on. The Rastaman a move on. Whoa. Anything that you can do, dreadlocks can do better. Move up. Move up. Move on top of the line, Rastaman. Leave up the wicked man. All you backbiters, all you backsliders, you shall not enter. Oh no, you shall not enter in the kingdom of Jah the Almighty. In the kingdom of Jah the Almighty. Oh, me a solo. No riches cannot enter. Oh no, no weed that cannot enter. Oh no, render your heart, not your garment. Make your heart be pure and true. Make your heart be pure and true. Whoa. Move out of Babylon, Rastaman. Leave on the wicked man. Move out of Babylon, Rastaman. Leave on the wicked man. Move up. Move up. The Rastaman a move on. The Rastaman a move on. Move up. Respect.
I met a man Bojangles and I'll dance to you. With worn-out shoes, with silver hair, ragged shirt, and baggy pants to love. Builder the house of shoes. He can jump so high, Lord. He can jump so high that he lightly touched down. I met him in a cell in New Orleans, the word. When I was down and out, he looked to me to be the very eyes of age. As he spoke, cried out. He talked of life, Lord. He talked of life.
stepped aside and showed us a few new dances. Mr. Bojangle, Mr. Bojangle, Mr. Bojangles, come back and dance. He said his name was Bojangles and he danced a bit right across the floor. Then he lifted his pants, found a better stance, and he jumped up high. That's when he clicked his heels. Then he let go that Lord, he let go that left. Grabbed his clothes and twisted right back around. Oh no. We talked about his road along with a minstrel show, traveling throughout the South. He talked with tears of 15 years, how his dog and he, they were traveling about. But he up and died, the old dog just got old and died. And after 20 years, you know, the man, he's still green. Mr. Bojangle, Mr. Bojangle, Mr. Bojangles, come back and dance. He said, I dance at every chance of honky-tonk for my drinks and tips. Most of the time I spend behind these county bars. You see, son, I drinks a bit. Then he shook his head. No, he shook his head. And I could hear someone say, please. Mr. Bojangle, Mr. Bojangle, Mr. Bojangles, come back and dance. One more time. Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, come back and dance. Thank you. Down in Jamaica, close to Mandeville, back up in the woods on top of the hill, could play his guitar like a ringing a bell, young. Say, oh, Johnny, be good tonight, yeah. Say, oh, Johnny, be good. Used to catch guitar in a gunny sack, sitting in the tree by the railroad track, yeah. The old engineer of the train sitting in the shade, shouting to the rhythm that the stripers made. People passing by would stop and say, oh man, what's a boy can play? Say, oh, Johnny, be good tonight, yeah. Say, oh, you better be good. Mama says, son, you got to be the man. You've got to be the leader of a reggae band. People coming in from miles around to hear you say until the sun goes down. For someday you'll never be the lie. Say, Johnny, Johnny, be good tonight. I say, go, Johnny, be good tonight. Say, I say, go, you better be good. I say, go, Johnny, be good tonight. Say, I say, go, you better be good.
This is party time, oh party time, yeah. Party time, oh party time. This is party again, oh party time, yeah. Ooh, oh. We're having a party tonight, oh people. Where everything will be alright. Come on, everyone. It's time that we should have some fun. We've got to live some life before we're old. We've got to live some life before we're cold. So hear me, man. Let's live the life the best we can. Don't try to work your soul away. Come on, remember there's another day. We got to live some life before we're old. We've got to live some life before we're cold. This is party time, oh party time, yeah. Oh party time, party time. baby, come with me, my love, to the sea of love. I wanna tell you how much I love you. I love you, girl. Baby, do you remember the time we met? That's the day, girl, I knew I won't forget it. I wanna tell you how much I love you. Oh, pretty baby, baby, come with me, baby, to the sea, my love, of love. Baby, do you remember the time we met, baby? Baby, that's the day. I know you and I, we won't forget, no. I wanna tell you how much I love you. Oh, baby, I love you, girl. Oh, I love you. Oh, let me.
You were my very first girl. I love you more than anything in this whole world. Why did you leave me to cry? Oh, my honey, at times that I pass you by, you could see the teardrops falling from my eyes. Why did you leave me to cry? Oh, my baby, I wanted you to be a bride, and forever you would stay by my side. Why did you leave me to cry? Oh, my baby, now that I'm so all alone, and I've got no one to call my very own. Why did you leave me to cry? Oh, my baby, why? Yes, another one from the studio one, we got a lot. I lost my baby, but she's coming back. Yeah, she wrote me a letter stated she needs me badly, and if she comes home, I'll have a precious time. My little honey says her new guy treats her badly. It seems to me his pretty looks may demoralize her. All I can say, pretty looks isn't all. looks isn't all.
Baby, be true. Girl, if you're true to me, girl, I'll be true to you. Listen, baby. Baby, be true, and I'll give the world to you. I mean it, baby. Oh, girl, listen now. Treat me right, and I love you day and night. I mean it, baby. Oh, girl, and I keep my heart to you, my babe. And I do what you ask me to, now, babe. I mean it, baby. Oh, when you're down, I'll be around to guide you, baby. Oh, baby, listen now. And when you're free, just call on me. I'll be there, baby. Oh, girl, and I'll keep the world to you, my babe. And I'll do what you ask me to, now, babe. I mean it, baby. Oh, I mean it, baby. Oh.
Yes, this song was originally written by the Deftones, recorded in 1973 at RJ Studio.
Now isn't it strange how princesses and things, yeah, and found that the papers in sort of serene. And that's why common people like you and me, we're the builders for eternity. And the teachers give it a bag or two, a shapeless man, and a book of rules. But it's just to make their lives keep flowing. Oh, listen, like stumbling the flag or the stepping stone. And that's why common people like you and me, we'll be builders for eternity. And then each is giving a bag of tools, a shapeless man, and a book of rules. Each is giving a bag of dues, and a book of rules. But look when the rain is falling from the sky, I know the sun will be only missing for a while. Hey, and just while common people like you and me, we'll be builders for eternity. Hey, each is giving a bag of dues, and a book of rules. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is reggae music. Welcome to the sound. Need to look no further. to Lord heal me. 'Cause I'm not boasting. I'm not boasting. No, I'm not boasting. I'm not boasting. I'm not boasting. No, I feel like toasting. I feel like toasting. 'Cause I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put it on. In the morning, I'm gonna put it on. Anywhere, anytime, yeah. To Lord heal me. To Lord heal me. Whoa, 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 whoa. I say, yeah. Up, push me round like I'm just a love. You trample me all over. Treat me just like you treated the ground. You wanna see me suffer, but I get on my feet again. Ride the waves to happiness. Burn all the hurt and pain. In times like these, we're survivors again. Let's stay on. Whoa. So you can do what you want. I know that I can stand the test. Wheat and tears will have to grow until the day of harvest. Then I've been on my feet again. Ride the way to happiness. I wanna burn all the hurt and pain. In times like these, we're survival is the game. Let's play on. Oh, yeah, yeah. In times like these, we're survival is the game. Let's play on. Whoa. Yeah, man, and just touch me, say they love me to them heart and soul. And some of them I look it so warm, with me love,
Bye-bye.
Have mercy. Me say we coming on your party. Hey, 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 hey.
Say every day, man, them just say me say they love me to them heart and soul. And some of them a look hate, some want me love, some want take full control, but I can't take confusion, moderation, intimidation, and the frustration, and that is why I am a one-man girl. I am a one-man woman. I am a one-man girl. Oh yes, you're looking at her. Yes, you're looking at her. Oh, you say me. Well, up you want if you want my woman. Wave your hand if you have one man. Well, up you want if you 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 man. Well, up you. 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 Well, up you.
Thank you so much.
Lady with the starlight, a lovely starlight that shines so bright. A lovely lady with the starlight, a lovely starlight that shines so bright. She must be crazy, crazy or sad. She must be crazy, crazy or sad. Lady with the starlight, a lovely that shines so bright. A lovely lady with the starlight, a lovely that shines so bright. Whoa, ah yeah. Lady with the starlight, a lovely starlight that shines so bright. A lovely, thank you so much, starlight, a lovely starlight that shines so bright. La 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 la. Ooh, girl, hey woman, oh yeah. When I fall in love, it will be forever, 'cause I'll never ever fall in love again. When I fall in love, there will be no other, only you and me in this whole wide world. If I should fall in love again, it needs to be a pleasure. If it don't take all knowledges away, so when I fall in love, it will be forever, 'cause I'll never ever fall in love again.
When I fall in love, when I fall in love, when I fall in love,
When I fall in love, it will be forever, 'cause I'll never ever fall in love again. When I fall everything, you know, author. Only you and me in this whole wide world. If I should fall in love again, me to be a pleasure. If it don't take all my legends away, so when I fall in love, it will be forever. 'Cause I'll never ever fall in love again. La 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 da. Oh, when you fall in love, let it be forever. Talking to your brothers and sisters. When you fall in love, let it be forever. Talking to your brothers and sisters. When you fall in love. Everybody all right? Thank you so much. Here we go. Baby, I'm not joking, and it's not what I'm smoking. I really think you're nice. Don't think I'm kidding you, and don't think I'm bidding. If silver birds are your price, hey woman, Baba, if you could see, ah yeah, the change you made in me. That the angels in the skies were envious and surprised that anyone as nice as you would chance with me. Ah yeah, you better chance with me. Baby, I'm not joking, and it's not what I'm smoking. I really think you're mine. Don't think I'm kidding you, and don't think I'm bidding. If silver birds are your price, hey woman, Baba, if you could see, ah yeah, the change you made in me. That angels in the skies were envious and surprised that anyone as nice as you would chance with me. Ah yeah, you better chance with me. Good Lord, good Lord, yeah. Baby, I'm not joking, and it's not what I'm smoking. I really think you're nice. Don't think I'm kidding you, and don't think I'm bidding. If silver birds are your price, hey woman, Baba, if you could see, ah yeah, the change you made in me. That the angels in the skies were envious and surprised that anyone as nice as you would chance with me. Ah yeah, you better chance with me. Good Lord, you better chance with me, babe. Come on, you better chance with me, girl. Oh yeah, good Lord, you you better chance with me, babe. Oh yeah. Come on, come on. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. This month is a special month for our music, reggae music. And this month is Reggae Month. And we don't forget all the people that made so much contribution, musically speaking, so this music could reach where it is now. We have to thank everyone, musicians and singers. Thank you so much. And some of them are not here with us anymore. All these people that make so much contribution for this music to reach where it is today. Thank you so much for having me. Sheltered me from storm, kept me warm, kept me warm. You gave my life to me, set me free, set me free. The finest tears I ever knew. Good Lord, all I want you to sing this with us. You end up with everything I own. Give up my life, my heart, my own. And I would give everything I own just to have you all back again. Is there someone you know, you're loving them so, but they're taking it all for granted? You may lose them one day, someone takes them away, and you don't hear a word they say. And I would give everything I own, give up my life, my own, and I would give everything I own just to have you all back again, just to talk to you words again. But they're taking it all for granted. You may lose them one day, someone takes them away, and you don't hear a word they say. And I will give everything I own, give up my life, my heart, my own. And I would give everything I own just to have you all back again, just to talk to you. Word, take it down, take it down. My everything that I own is gonna be yours, yours forevermore. Talking about my wife, my kids, and my family. Talking to your brothers and sisters, you better let it be. When you're in love, when you're in love, let it be forever. When you're in love, when you're in love, let it be forever.
Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Usain Bolt, and of course, Reggae Month, the only month-long reggae music festival on planet Earth, where something reggae happens every day in the month of February, ranging from mega reggae concerts, reggae award ceremonies, and educational symposia on reggae. February is Reggae Month. Reggae Month is February, when Jamaica invites the world to come to Mecca, Reggae Mecca, and come catch the rhythm like no place else on earth, only in Jamaica.
And that's how I made to give him the glory. I'm delighted. January to my passion ignited. Got the music get me excited. I'm coming like a boss.
Reggae is global. Reggae is everywhere.
Yeah, reggae is my life, you know, because I for reggae, I don't know that walk out saying did or something.
We have something which the world crave even right now. Reggae is internationally known.
Do you